Carlos Rodon of the Yankees might have just turned in the worst start in the history of baseball. Like, actually, not a single out was recorded yesterday. An Angels rookie, he's making history even though their season is completely over, and he was drafted 4 months ago. J.P. Crawford, he's been putting the Mariners on his back like prime A-Rod, and this Twins and Rockies game, yeah, there was like 5 home runs of 450 feet. All of that in today's MLB Recap, and just a reminder, Recap is presented by SeatGeek. Use code Fuzzy to save 20 bucks off on tickets. And also, Underdog Fantasy is running a special right now where they give new users a $500 deposit match, and they can unlock a Patrick Mahomes 1-yard special. All he needs is 1 yard. They're matching 500 bucks if you use code Fuzzy at the link below. Now, before the games, we have some breaking news. Gabe Kapler is officially out as the manager of the San Francisco Giants. He's under 500 this year, and he made the playoffs just once over the last 4 years, but to me, he's kind of being scapegoated because the 2023 Giants roster was not that great, and Gabe Kapler, he wasn't that bad as a manager. Now, they faced off against the Dodgers yesterday, and Will Smith, he's been in a slump for the last month or two, so seeing him hit a 2-run home run, that is great for the playoffs. And Freddie, he went yard in the third. Freddie, he's got 2 more games to hit his 30th home run, and I hope that he does it. JD Martinez made himself so much money this year. He signed a 1-year contract worth $10 million. He has 33 home runs and a 906 OPS. Lance Lynn, he went out there and tossed a quality start. He's been pretty bad for the Dodgers, not gonna lie, minus a handful of decent starts. Brusdar Graterol, he has a 1.2 ERA on the season, and yeah, that was the final game of Gabe Kapler's tenure. They didn't even wait until the end of the season. They just said, you're done. Here we go. The Padres, they're trying to avoid joining the Giants on the couch. Nick Martinez and Trent Grisham, they did some damage. Martinez went out there and shut down the White Sox offense for 5 shutout frames. He had 8 strikeouts as well. Anytime you have more strikeouts than innings pitched, that's a 6 start in my opinion. He only allowed 2 starts as well. Trent, he made it 3-0 on a 2-run double, and that was huge because Chicago, they got 1 back on a Moncada home run, and now it's a 1-run game after Carlos Perez hit a tater. But Josh Hader, he kept it 3-2. He notched his 33rd save. The Padres have won 3 in a row. They've won 14 of their last 20. Now they need the Marlins and the Reds or the Cubs to lose some ball games. And apparently the Cubs just want to be San Francisco 2.0 because, wow, they have been playing like bums lately. Milwaukee starting pitcher Colin Ray, he held the Cubs to just 2 hits over 5, and he punched out 6 hitters. Colin Ray, he has 1 good start every month, and of course he saved it for the Cubs yesterday. Santana, he ripped a 2-run triple. That must have woken up the Cubs though and reminded them that, hey, they have to win this ball game because they went on to tie it over the next 4 innings. Candelario hit a home run. Yan Gomes had an RBI ground out right before Ian Happy clutched up and tied it at 3-3. A brand new ball game. Chicago, they just have to get Carlos Santana. Oh no, big yikes. A big old fat yikes right there. The Cubs have lost 4 in a row. They've lost 14 of their last 20, and they are in danger of missing the playoffs. So with that Cubs loss, the Padres are still in it. Now they need the Marlins to lose. And it was a great start for San Diego fans because Pittsburgh, they actually got the lead early, but the newcomers, they did their thing. Josh Bell, he roped a huge 2-run double in the 8th, and then Jake Berger, he tied it up. Bell and Berger are the only reasons why the Marlins are even in this spot, so it's cool to see them both clutching up. And I know it wasn't a home run or anything, but Jazz Chisholm, his sac fly put the Marlins up by 1. I mean, a run is a run no matter how you slice it. Tanner Scott, he tossed a 1-2-3 9-pitch 9th inning for his 11th save. He has been incredibly vital in the Marlins turnaround over the last 3 or 4 weeks. So yes, despite the Padres winning 12 of their last 15, it was too little too late. They have been knocked out the playoffs, even though they had the 2nd best team ERA in the National League. They were top 4 in DRS and outs above average. They have multiple guys with 25 home runs, but they were 1-12 in extra inning games and terrible with runners in scoring positions. So if you're not clutch, you're not going to win games. By the way, the Padres also needed Cincinnati to lose, and the Reds won by 17 yesterday. Nick Martini, he likes to shake things up. That's an awful Martini joke. I'm sorry, but also not sorry at all. Jonathan India and Spencer Steer, they both went yard as well. So that's 3 home runs already. Noelvi Marte, the rookie that's kind of been forgotten because he's off to a slow start, he went yard, and then someone has to find a way to get this kid out. Christian Encarnacion Strand, he raked in spring training. He raked in AAA. Now over his last 15 games, he's hitting .315 with 7 home runs and 16 RBIs. My brother faced him in college. He's no joke. Tyler Stevenson, he went 430 feet on this swing. That's 6 home runs in 1 game for the Reds. Ellie De La Cruz, he didn't go yard, but he still had a nice game. He took a walk, and then he smacked a 2-run triple in the 8th inning. The Reds, they're trying to muscle their way back into the NL wildcard. So now the Reds and the Cubs are tied at 1.5 games back of the Marlins for the final wildcard spot. Jose Urquidy had the tough task of facing Zach frickin' Gallen on basically 0 notice because rookie JP France, he was scratched. So instead of moving Justin Verlander up a day, Urquidy, he clutched all the way up and he shut down a lethal Arizona offense. Well, they haven't been very lethal lately, but he went out there and tossed 5 shutout with just just a few base hits allowed, and his lineup finally rewarded him in the 6th inning with Jose Abreu hitting a 2-run double. That was the only blemish on a pretty good start from Zach Gallen. He struck out 7 in just under 7 innings, and Urquidy, he was simply better though. He ended up going 6 shutout. Now Verlander, he can go today, so a massive shout out and tip of the cap to Jose Urquidy for stepping up, and same with Jeremy Pena. The glove does not slump. The World Series MVP, he saves the game, and I mean that because 2 would have scored, and that means that this Gabriel Moreno RBI double would have walked it off. Ryan Presley, he scares me, but he finished it. The Astros beat the Diamondbacks 2-1. And now we have one of the most important games of the year. The Mariners will get knocked out if they do not beat the Rangers in this game and tie France. That's a nice start right there. Josh Rojas, okay, we see you. The Mariners, they got a few more on a double from Eugenio Suarez, and there was an RBI single from Josh Rojas, so he had 2 RBIs, and wow, just wow, 4 runs on 1 swing. J.P. Crawford has been this team's MVP down the stretch. J-Rod, he carried in August. Now J.P. Crawford is carrying to end the season. After that grand slam, he has 3 home runs and 8 RBIs over the last week. He also has 6 walks to 7 strikeouts, so he's been an all-around beast in the batter's box. The Seattle pitching staff, they didn't even need those extra runs, as Brian Wu and 5 other Mariner pitchers, they combined for a shutout, 9 innings, no runs. So madness, I tell you. The Rangers, they're only ahead of the Astros by 1 game, and Seattle, they're now 2 games back in the AL West, but also Houston, they're still in it right now via the wild card. So Seattle, they have to keep on winning, and they have to hope that Arizona clutches up and beats the Astros. Welcome to maybe the worst start in MLB history. Carlos Rodon, more like Carlos was rode off his game. I'm so sorry. There's a 2-run hit for Salvador Perez. Edward Olivares, which sounds like a name straight out of Goblet of Fire and Harry Potter. He smoked a 2-run home run, and man, Kansas City, they kept the faucet running, and they flooded Carlos Rodon for 8 runs without a single out being made. Rodon now has a 6.9 ERA. He got a massive 6-year contract worth $162 million in the offseason. Will he bounce back? I mean, that shoulder injury really messed him up, so in my humble little fuzzy opinion, I think that he's going to get right over the offseason and be much better in 2024. Shout out to Austin Wells, who's 100% going to be the everyday catcher in 2024. He's kind of looking like Jorge Posada 2.0. 3 home runs and 8 RBIs over his last 5 games. Bobby Witt Jr., he joins the 30-40 club in style. He's 1 stolen base away from 50, by the way, but again, he has 30 home runs, 1 away from 50. As a 23-year-old, he could very well be one of the handful of guys in MLB history in the 400 home run and 400 stolen base club. Toronto Blue Jays fans have been really enjoying this season. 1, because they're going to make the playoffs, and 2, the Yankees are not. On the same day that Rodon had one of the worst starts ever, Toronto, they erupted for 11 runs and they beat the mighty Tampa Bay Rays. Kirk had a home run and 2 more RBIs in the next inning. Brandon, he belted a home run. He's got 18 despite missing 50-plus games. Matt Chapman, he's got a home run in back-to-back games. Now, I do want to show some Tampa Bay highlights because Yandy Diaz, he's hitting .330 with 22 home runs, 78 RBIs, and an almost .940 OPS. He's been a top 10 hitter in baseball over the last 2 years. The rookie, Junior Caminero, he's trying to figure out on the fly. Remember, he skipped AA. He went from AA to the big leagues. That's a 2-run single. But Biggio, he got both of those runs right back, and then Bo Bichette, he doubled in the game's final run. So the Blue Jays, they've won 2 in a row. They have a deep rotation with a ton of firepower in that lineup. They're going to be sneaky in the playoffs. Guys, look at who decided to join the recap for the Orioles and Red Sox game. It's Grady. All right, back to the recap. Trevor Story, he bopped out a 2-run tank job, an absolute no-doubter. I really miss when Trevor Story was a top 3 shortstop, but he kind of sucks now, to be honest. That was all Baltimore starting pitcher John Means gave up. He has a 2.6 ERA and a very impressive 0.7 whip in his first 6 starts of the season. He is a massive addition to that rotation going into the playoffs, but that was pretty much it for this one, as Nick Pivetta, he morphed into prime Pedro Martinez, 2 base hits, 10 strikeouts over 7 shutout frames. He only walked 1 hitter as well. That's as dominant as it gets. Garrett Whitlock, he was really good as well. He closed this one out with 2 shutout innings. The Red Sox, they have some nice pieces going into 2024, but there's still a lot of work to do. So we're going to talk about the Angels rookie making history and the Twins home run derby in just a second, but real quick, the rookies came to play in this Guardians and Tigers game. Brian Rocchio and Bo Naylor combined for 3 runs in the 2nd inning. Bo Naylor has been insane. One of the best catchers in baseball over the last month. Over his last 25 games, Bo Naylor is hitting .320 with 7 home runs, 18 RBIs, and 16 walks. The kid is 100% legit. Tyler Freeman, he had a long home run. 420 feet in Detroit is no cheapie. I hope that he gets more reps in 2024. Torkelson, he smoked his 31st home run. That was off of Class A. Class A is having one of the weirdest relief pitching seasons I've ever seen because that was his 44th save, but it's crazy. He has 44 saves despite blowing 12 saves, so he could have been approaching 60. Baseballs were flying last night across Major League Baseball. Again, wait until you see the Twins and Rockies game. We'll talk about that after Carter Kieboom and the Nationals absolutely teed off as well. Kieboom put the boom in his last name. That's a 3-run home run. Jake Lou, he sent out a home run of his own in Washington. They kept hitting the square button or the X button on Xbox, the power swing for all of my MLB The Show fans. Kybert Ruiz has 18 home runs. Dom Smith, you guys remember when Dom Smith hit 300 with 21 home runs and a 150 OPS plus over 139 games between 19 and 20? Lane Thomas, look at this graphic right here. Sorry guys, this is Fuzzy from the future. I got this wrong. Lane Thomas is one of 6 players with 35 doubles, 25 home runs, and 20 stolen bases. Insane. St. Louis gave away Lane Thomas for 3 peanut M&Ms and some belly button lint, aka a washed up John Lester. That was an awful trade. The Twins and the Rockies entered in some auto home run cheat code on this one because they were all bombs. Michael A. Taylor went 470 feet. I mean, I'll even show some Rockies home runs because that was 450 feet off the bat of Montero. He's been on fire lately. Brendan Rodgers, 455 feet. Trevor Larnach, 445 feet to make it a 1-run game, and Ryan Jeffers, he is him. That ball went 465. He ties it, and then Minnesota, they're going to end up taking the lead on a sac fly, but a run is a run, like we said in the Marlins game. A sac fly counts the same as a 470-foot solo home run or an RBI double. The Twins, they barely beat the Rockies 7-6. That walk right there to the rookie Nolan Shanuel. He now has a 28-game on-base streak. He's only played in 28 games, so that means he's been on base in every single game that he has started in the big leagues. He was drafted 4 months ago. He was taking his college exams 4 months ago. He got called up. He refuses to not get on base. That's the 4th longest streak ever to begin a career. After Fletcher tied it on an RBI single, Nolan then contributed with an RBI single of his own. He looks just like Shohei Ohtani in the batter's box, by the way. He's hitting 285 with a near 410 on base percentage. Mickey Moniaki's back in the lineup. He launched a 2-run home run, his first game in nearly a month. He's got 21 doubles and 14 home runs in 84 games. That is elite production. The Angels, they have some nice pieces. I'm just really bummed they didn't trade Ohtani because they could have completely retooled and reshaped going into the next season, but I don't know if that's going to happen now. You guys have to help me out, but is there a sign-in trade in Major League Baseball? Like, let's say the Angels asked Ohtani, can you do us a favor? Can you sign this contract and then we'll trade you to the Mets? Like, is that a thing? I think there's only 2 days left in the season, so we have the Mariners at 2 games back of the West. The Astros are 1 game back of the Rangers, but the Rangers have lost 2 in a row. Both the Astros and the Mariners have won 2 in a row. In the wild card for the AL, the Mariners are 1 game back of the Astros. That is going to be a lot of fun to watch. And then the NL, the Cubs and the Reds are still fighting. They're 1.5 game back of the Marlins for that final wild card spot. All right, today's Immaculate Grid, we have a Braves Hall of Famer. I'm going to go with someone that just got inducted, even though he should have been in a long time ago. A Guardians Hall of Famer. I'm going to try and go lower picks today. Nap Lajoie, he was so good. Royals Hall of Famer. I feel like George Brett is way too much of a... Yeah, I'm not going to go George Brett because a lot of people are going to use that. A Braves All-Star. I think Ozzie Albies has made an All-Star team, so I'm going to go Ozzie Albies to keep my score low. 3%. A Guardians... I got to go my boy Grady Sizemore, if I could spell it. Grady Sizemore, 5%. An All-Star for the Royals. I could go a Greinke. I think that Hosmer was one. Mike Moustakas. I'm going to go Mike Moustakas. He made it right. 4%. Okay, we're looking pretty good. A 21 season for the Braves. I mean, I feel like this is where rarity scores get cooked, right? I feel like the Hall of Famer for the Royals, a 21... Yeah, it's got to be like Glavine or Maddox, unless I'm forgetting about some random guy that had 20 wins. I guess I'll go Glavine, and this is for sure going to cook my rating score, so we'll go Glavine. We'll go another lefty with 20 wins, Cliff Lee, one of my favorite pitchers of all time. I feel like Orlando Cepeda had some time with the Royals, but I can't remember. I'll go George Brett, 89%, and then a 21 season for the Royals. I don't know if Zach Greinke got to 20. I'm thinking of someone like Brett Saberhagen. I'm going to go Brett Saberhagen because no one else is coming to mind. Brett Saberhagen. He got 20 wins. Thank you guys for watching today's recap presented by SeatGeek. Use code Fuzzy to save 20 bucks off on tickets. And also, new users on Underdog Fantasy who use code Fuzzy get a $500 deposit match and a 1-yard Patrick Mahomes pick'em. Do not miss out.